I had this big intuitive hit, and it said, you need to go to Bali and you need to go to Fiji. And I said, well, you know what? There could be worse things in the world. With my intuition telling me I have to travel to some of the most beautiful places in the world. And I am so glad that I did, because those trips were life transforming.
Welcome to the Mastry Experience. I'm your host, Francesca Sipma, and we are diving deep into mental mastery. This is where self-awareness meets peak performance. You're going to witness the truth behind personal development, emotional breakthroughs, dissolving triggers, getting into flow state, discovering purpose, and most importantly, mastering intuitive action. And we do this through a process called Hypnobreathwork. This is your community committed to breaking behavior patterns, getting into alignment, pursuing excellence, and self-mastery. Let's do the work. This is the Mastry Experience. Shout out to Huel for sponsoring and partnering with the Mastry Experience. Andy Stein, Amos, Roxanne Serra, welcome to the Mastry Experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you guys. We start every episode off with a card from our Mastry card deck. So we're going to go around, and your question for today is, what type of people are you instantly drawn to? We'll start with you, Andy.
I'm instantly drawn to people that are grounded.
Oh, okay.
Especially around how they relate to the environment around them. Because that speaks to me.
Yeah. Marley?
For me, it's probably high performers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roxanne?
For me, it is definitely ambitious and energetic.
Okay, I'm going to flip this question, actually. What people are drawn to you? You go first. Who gravitates
I find the
towards
same.
you?
People that I gravitate to me too.
I find the same as well, except more intuitive. The ones that are tapped in, the ones that want to heal, and ambitious.
I also feel as though I draw on grounded people, but also people that are spiritual, people that want to have deep conversations. Those people oftentimes find themselves within my circles.
I like that, and I really want to have a deep spiritual personal development conversation today. I feel like we get to do that because we all do the work, and you guys are all Hypnobreathwork coaches, but you're also much more than that. So Andy, tell us a little bit about your journey, your career before Hypnobreathwork, and how you're kind of merging worlds now.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in sustainability, and I know it's a little bit of a vague word, but it really involves a lot of working with companies to help them become more energy efficient, helping develop plans to combat climate change, working with companies to really have a lower impact on the world and the environment. And I was doing that for many years, at least 10, about 15 years. And it had meaningfulness within its work, but the way that I was doing it felt very mundane. It was a lot of number crunching, a lot of utility data, meaningful work, but the way that I was doing it didn't feel like I was really connecting with sustainability, connecting with the environment, connecting with nature, which is what I love, and that's why I'm in that field in the first place. So I ventured out on this journey to figure out how I can bring a more human-centered process to understanding sustainability, not just looking at numbers and data and sitting on computer screens. And that's when I was able to really merge the two and figure out how I can help people connect to nature themselves. And then when you better connect with yourself through nature, you can better connect with your community, your family, your company, and it can elevate you to the next level. And so what I've done is I'm merging connecting people to nature, connecting them to themselves, and connecting them to everything else. And I use Hypnobreathwork and poetry and nature-inspired workshops to do all of that.
It is so cool to me how you've really combined your passions, and you've just made it so seamless. It's been so integrated. I remember in the Hypnobreathwork certification, Andy would just start flowing in poems, and then he would read them, and we'd all be in tears. It was so beautiful, and it was so fluid. I also feel like your work is making people more conscious of the environment. Like, it just makes us more present, more aware, more attuned to what's going on around us. Like, you're really raising consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal, to raise consciousness and to use nature to do that, because nature has consciousness, and we can tap into it.
Yep.
And oftentimes when I lead hypnobreathwork sessions, I ask, what does nature's wisdom have for you? As part of the process, when I'm asking for your intuition, I'm also saying, tap into the energy of nature.
Yeah.
What does it have for you?
And it's so elevated when you're doing the hypnobreathwork sessions in nature. And you've done it in Fiji. You've hosted sessions. And when people are by the water, they're on the beach, they feel the sand underneath them, they're surrounded by trees, like, you just accelerate the journey. You just go even deeper.
Absolutely. I mean, the space where you do the session makes a big difference. I love hosting events on the beaches in Los Angeles. And yes, I had an amazing session when I was in Fiji after coming back from our trip to Bali, when I led a group through a session there, and it was incredible.
Yeah. So beautiful.
I love it.
Awesome. I want to go back to some of the work in nature, but I want to ask Murli, because Murli, you've been such a fan of hypnobreathwork since before you jumped into the certification. So tell me what really resonates with you about the practice.
Okay, so I started breathwork. I was starting meditating, I was doing breath work, and I was like, okay, there's something missing. Like, I did every mindset tool, every affirmation, every surface level healing. Then I did meditations, then I did breath work, and I was like, I'm still getting that high. Like, I call it, like, I was getting high on my own supply, but just for the amount of time that I was practicing the session over, my life is all there. And then I was watching as I was working at the time in licensed design, and Powerhouse Women sent an email, and they were like, virtual. I'm like, all right, let me just try this. Let's go. One more mindset hack, I was not giving up. I knew there was something more that was deeper.
Yeah.
I was coming up against fears of, like, being seen, of using my voice, and everything I was trying was not working. And then comes on stage Francesca in thigh-high boots. And I was like, who is that? Like, such a New York vibe, because, like, I grew up in New York. And I was like, why isn't she in yoga pants? Like, why isn't she all woo-woo? And here we go, let's just be calm. She led the most incredible session. I was bawling at the end. I Googled you. I immediately joined Mastry app, and I started doing the sessions, and I've never felt more. There was an integration at the end, so every session gave me an intuitive action step. Now, did I do it? Most of the time, yes. Some of the times, no. But each session, I felt another layer peeling, another level of, accessing that intuition and knowing what to do with it.
Yeah, so beautiful. And your daughter has actually done hypnobreathwork. Tell me about that.
My 8-year-old can lead a session.
Oh my goodness.
She can do song 1, 5, and 6. She can't do the reprogramming and the heightened song 3, but she can lead a session. And she is 8, and she'll lead it exactly like me, standing up. She puts on my boots, and she's like, deep breath into the belly, into the chest. And it's so beautiful, because I grew up in a Syrian background. Both my parents were Syrian, and they refugeed, and all I learned was to be strong and to be happy. That was it. And it caught up with me because I got so much anxiety. Like, I was allergic to anxiety. I would break out in hives. And I just knew that I was looking at these 3 kids, and I was like, I cannot pass this on to them. Only be strong, be happy, don't use your voice. We don't trust anyone. We don't make new friends, and vulnerability is the biggest weakness. So we just have to keep performing, keep checking the boxes, and just follow that trail. So I just wanted something different.
Wow.
And to see them do it, my second one also does it. She's 15. She does JAXA sessions, and it helps her with anxiety. And then, speaking of leading a session, this summer I led my most impactful session in the mountains of Sifa. So it was absolutely incredible. First timer. And it was just to see the transformation from 22 minutes. Still gives me full body chills.
You guys are so international. You're taking the work everywhere. I really love that.
I was just going to say, I need to take my show on the road here, you guys.
You do. So, Roxanne, I want to talk to you about your corporate background, because we have very similar stories. Will you share with the audience where you sort of come from and the transition you've made now?
For sure. I actually started in corporate 14 years ago. I worked for a big retailer in Canada. I'm from Toronto. And I started like literally at the bottom. I was an assistant buyer in this company and worked my way all the way up to the top, like climbed the corporate ladder, checked all the boxes of success, did all the things that I thought I was supposed to. And literally like got to my my last position there and realized that I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I felt really disconnected from the work that I was doing. And then that's kind of really where my personal development journey started. And I was also in a relationship at the time that wasn't serving me. Like, it was the combination of everything. And then that's really when my personal development journey kind of kicked off. And then I found you, I want to say like the following year or two maybe, on the Powerhouse Women podcast.
Oh, it was on Powerhouse too.
Yeah.
So I remember on our call, I think it was for the certification, you asked me, you said something like, you've trained, 100 coaches now. Like, what do you see as the number one trait for success?
Right.
And I really quickly said to you, it's intuitive action. It's the people who can trust themselves, who believe in their inner knowing, and then they execute immediately. It's not just hearing your intuition or learning to trust it, but it's the execution of it. So let's talk about some of your boldest intuitive actions since you've started this practice. And Andy, you're a killer when it comes to executing on your intuition. You've done some big, bold moves.
I definitely have. Yes, I have.
How have they worked out for you?
They always work out. Even if they're daunting, some are huge and some are really small and simple, but have a big impact. And it spans the whole gamut with those.
And you never know, right? You never know what the outcome's going to be when you have the courage to do it. It's never linear. It's never the exact expectation, but we just do it and we trust and we keep doing it and we keep planting the seeds until it compounds one day.
Exactly. I mean, I've had full business plans come to me. Ideas for my company, for Hypnotion, just come straight through, and it's like, this is the brand you got to operate. I remember I went to one of your workshops once here in San Diego, and I had an intuitive action that I need to build a website, and I need to do it now. And then sitting next to me was your website designer.
I know, that was crazy.
And then I worked with her. It was literally instant.
Full body chills, because your website is such a banger. Like, it just fully encapsulates who you are, and it's so well designed. It's so premium. I love it. And Bali was also, joining the Bali retreat was intuitive. I remember getting the email from you and you're just like, I'm in, I'm going to Bali. I was like, okay.
I had this big intuitive hit, and it said, you need to go to Bali and you need to go to Fiji. And I said, well, you know what? There could be worse things in the world. With my intuition telling me I have to travel to some of the most beautiful places in the world. And I am so glad that I did, because those trips were life transforming.
I start every morning with breath work and meditation. I'm immediately in a creative flow state, and I get on my computer and I start banging out work. The next thing I know, it's already lunch and I haven't even eaten breakfast. Shout out to Huel for making sure that I'm still hitting my protein goals, because they have these delicious ready-to-drink meals packed with 35 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber. We have 27 different vitamins and minerals. My favorite part, you guys, no artificial sweeteners, and it comes in so many delicious flavors, including this chocolate, peanut butter, and my personal favorite, the iced coffee. And if you're looking for something where you can add your own fruits and veggies to it, then check out the Huel protein. All the same nutrients, but you can make it a little bit creamier, a little bit thicker. Shout out to Huel for sponsoring the Mastry experience, and you can use our exclusive 15% off code. That's huel.com/mastery. And Huel is actually now in Targets near you. So check them out. Shout out to Huel for supporting the Mastry experience. So, okay, I want to break down why this is so important and why it's like the most integral part of a Hypnobreathwork session. So we usually take people through, the Hypnobreathwork session is 5 or 6 songs, depending on the length of each song. in the beginning, we're dropping in. Towards the middle, we're unblocking a limiting belief, or we're reprogramming your subconscious. And then we have you see the expansive future that you want. And your very last cue in every session is, what is one next action step? And we do that because now you're in your highest energy, your highest frequency, you're in the highest vibration. Your soul is speaking to you. You're really in alignment. We do this because we want it to go from an internal experience to actually changing your external world and your everyday life. Now, the majority of people, if they saw go book Fiji and Bali, they would immediately retract after that. They would be like, that's illogical, that's not rational, that doesn't make any financial sense for me right now. But you didn't do that. You just knew that there was magic on the other side of that. There was parts of it that didn't make complete sense for you, timing-wise or whatnot. How do you feel after you take the intuitive actions?
Well, some of them are definitely daunting.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you have to get past the hesitation.
Yes.
Hesitation comes up, and the minute you give the hesitation power, that's when you take a step backward.
Yep.
And sometimes, yes, you can take a step backward and then it leads to 2 steps forwards, but I'd rather just take the step forward.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have to go backward.
Yeah.
And yeah, after making those decisions and actually doing it, taking the action, a weight comes off of you and you're like, I did it. Even if then that action leads to something in the future, like I booked the flights, I booked the trip. I didn't do the trip yet, but I knew that I was doing it. And I knew that something special was going to happen no matter what, because my intuition said that this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah. It's so bold, it's so courageous, and I think that that's how you build confidence with yourself, is when you follow through on the actions. What about you, ladies? What's the biggest, boldest intuitive action you've taken to date?
I think, I've, similar to Andy, like I've had a lot and I've taken all of them.
Yeah, amazing.
Intuition, it's interesting because when I was younger, so before corporate, I used to own restaurants and nightclubs. And when I was in that span of my life, I was like following my intuition left, right, and center. Like nothing held me back. I would just go. And then as I went through my corporate career, it just seemed to like dull a little, like get a little quieter, and the external environment in corporate kind of like led you to be a little quieter, a little shyer, don't do that. And when I came, it was funny because when we jumped on the call for the certification, I literally already had my plane ticket booked and my hotel booked, but I was like, let me just talk to Francesca anyways and like see, like I knew I was doing it. But since then, coming here and doing the certification, it's literally like I've just gotten that back. And one of the biggest things for me was when I left here, I went home, started a new company. It's called Reignite Her Co. So it's literally like, I feel like it's like my story, like reigniting
100%.
myself.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's probably the boldest, aside from like, I think the others that I've done is like the emails. For some reason, it comes up to me like, email so-and-so and like, introduce yourself to this person, or, so that is the same type of thing. It's kind of like, just hit send and like drop the phone.
No, but it's huge. Like I know I still get so uncomfortable sending those emails and sending the proposal and the pitch deck and naming your price and putting yourself out there. It is uncomfortable, but that is the growth journey. It's being able to thrive in the uncertainty, being able to trust without knowing what the outcome is going to be, and putting your ego aside. Right? Like the opportunities aren't necessarily just going to like fall from your lap. You got to put yourself out there. You got to tell people what you're offering and then co-create with the universe.
And also, I think one of the things that you said in our certification was like, disconnect yourself from the outcome.
Yeah.
If it works out, amazing. If it doesn't work out this time, it's not the time. Maybe you circle back in the, and that I found has been really helpful, because if not, you can like sit and beat yourself up. Oh, I didn't get this contract, or I didn't get that keynote, and let yourself like play in that kind of mind. So I just hit send. If they're interested, they write back and we have a conversation. And if they're not, you just move on to the next, and maybe circle around with them again in another time.
Sometimes you're just getting your reps in, and you're honestly just solidifying your own self-worth and your integrity with yourself and taking the actions. Merle, what about you?
Mine was coming here in May and getting certified. I think that was the biggest one. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Don't go. That's another thing. And I was like, I just feel this. It came out. It keeps coming up in breath.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. I just need to get on one phone call with her, discuss one thing with her, and then it's like all in. That was a big one. And then it's also the little intuitive action. So it's like, reach out to this person via DM. I'm like, no, like I'd rather have bigger intuitions of like, book the trip and go here and go there. And it's all these little things. But I noticed that the big things I'm good at doing. It's the little sending the email, sending the DM, and I do it and I detach from the outcome. And each time I feel like I'm becoming, like my nervous system is being able to hold the capacity of what is to come. And it happens months later. The person that I DM'd in May from the CERT just DM'd me back now. And it's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, oh, that intuitive action. Then it's like all the other things that like with the kids, with decisions, I'm like, oh, let me just breathe on it. Even with my client sessions, I'll take it to breath. Because they all come to me thinking they need mindset or they have a money block. And I'm like, there's something there. And it'll give me like that intuitive hit of like, oh, that's what it is. And then I create from there.
Beautiful. So you two were in the same certification in May, and it was special. It was really, the group was awesome. It was like 10 women. It was the first cert that it was all women, and everybody was just vulnerable and open and loving on each other. And since then, I've seen you guys really be of service. Like, you guys have been showing up. You've been serving your clients. You've been facilitating a ton of breakthroughs. I've seen it on your social media. So I want to talk about some of the breakthroughs that you've seen from facilitating hypnobreathwork.
Okay, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
Because I just had with a client, a huge breakthrough, well, I would say. She came and she was building consulting packages, and she was at the point where she needed to raise her prices. This happened last week, 9 p.m., no joke. And we were going back and forth in Voxer, and she's like, I'm going to price it this, but let me add another call. Let me add a bonus. Let me just give them one more in-person 1 hour. And I was like, wait, why you keep adding? I knew the answer, but I needed to do the whole coaching mindset stuff. So I was like, well, she goes, no, Marley, I already know. I am not worthy. I have the limiting beliefs. I know what my issue is. It's all good. So I was like, okay, great. I'm like, can we take it to breath? Got on the phone with her. It was 10 o'clock at night. Led her through a 15-minute impromptu. And what came through was that it wasn't actually those surfacey limiting beliefs, right? We had to go under, and through the breath, she realized that when she was making a lot of money, significantly larger income, she was unhappy, disconnected from God, and unfulfilled, and a terrible mother.
Oh my goodness.
And then it was like, I know. Huge.
15 minutes?
15 minutes. I was in it. I was like, let's go. Any playlist, let's do it. She was open to it. She came out hysterical crying, and she was just like, oh my God, I'm scared that if I match that income, I'm going to be that unfulfilled, disconnected mother, and now I am so fulfilled and so happy. So I was like, it was like unbelievable breakthrough. I gave her integration work right after. She did it. She sent it to me. 2 days she sold the consulting packages. Client number, actually, no, it wasn't a client. She sold a retreat spot without even promoting it within 2 days. That is not a coincidence.
No, of course not.
That is the power of hypnobreathwork.
Wow.
I
love that story.
I think that was my biggest,
So good. Andy, what about you? What breakthroughs have you seen in guiding hypnobreathwork?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of breakthroughs, but I think one of the most powerful ones for me was a few months ago. I led a workshop, a financial abundance mindset workshop, where I partnered with a financial coach. And we had about 2 hours of different things, including some meditation. The financial coach did a workshop connecting with your abundant self, and then I did a whole hypnobreathwork session on financial abundance and what's keeping you from really living your most abundant self financially. And there was this woman there at the session, and she ran her own company. It was a landscaping company, and she always struggled with her finances. She was always in a rut, and she was, struggling, financially, and that's why she was at my workshop. So we did the hypnobreathwork session, and in the session and throughout the workshop, I had people compare money, like a dollar, to a leaf, and compare the difference with how nature is abundant and how your money is abundant. And one of the questions in the Hypnobreathwork session was, how are you like nature with your abundance? And she came out of that workshop with a whole new perspective on how she looks at her company, because she plants trees for a living.
Oh, wow.
She's a landscaper. She runs a landscape company. And she said, this was amazing because abundance is in everything that I do. And if I literally look at the tree that I'm planting, which is full of life's abundant natural resources, I am planting that and I have that. And it completely changed her perspective on her whole company, her whole organization, and how she operates. And we were all blown away at how she communicated that. And it was that combination of connecting with nature, your intuition, the breath, bringing it all together and creating an immaculate outcome.
Wow. Love that. That is so core to your work. So good. What about you, Roxanne?
I would say the overarching themes out of most of my sessions really is confidence and clarity. And it goes between, business decisions that some of the women are making, relationship decisions. I had one woman who decided she was leaving her husband right after a session. I mean, obviously there was a lot leading up to that, but that clarity dropped in and she went home and did it. Had the first conversation about doing it. So it's really kind of spanning, but I'd say the overarching is really building that confidence. I find a lot of women and a lot of women kind of in their midlife have lost their shine a little bit. Whether they've been through corporate and kind of dulled down a little bit, whether they've just been at home focused on raising kids and raising a family, they've kind of lost what they love and what they want to do and what they enjoy. So really it's building that confidence up. I'd say that's a lot. Huge. A lot of people finding new joy in life and new ways to live. And for people that have lost that, that's huge huge breakthroughs.
And how just fulfilling is that for you?
It is game changing. Coming from a life where I said earlier, I had literally lost all of that. My work wasn't fulfilling. To be able to do this and facilitate for women and literally help them and guide them through changing their lives. I mean, you can't even put it into words. I'm gonna cry.
I know.
It's priceless.
I'm gonna get emotional.
It's priceless.
It doesn't get old either. I did a session yesterday and the woman came out of it and she was like, I saw a situationship that I was in for 2 months, didn't realize that my self-confidence took such a hit from it, released it, let it go. And she started crying. She was like, at the end of the session, I felt hope for love again. And being able to just help people expand their perspective, get out of a negative belief. It's just so rewarding, isn't it? I love it.
And even to shine the light on something that they didn't realize, like you just said.
The awareness is crazy. The awareness hits so hard. Okay, so what about you guys? What's been the biggest breakthrough you've had personally in a hypnobreathwork session? Andy Stein, kick us off.
The biggest breakthrough I've had in a session. You might remember this one. And the intuitive action was very interesting, but the biggest breakthrough is that it showed me that humans of all ages are connected to something greater than themselves.
Yeah.
And this came from a session I did during the training. And I got this intuitive action that I had to pretend that I was a bunch of blue marbles rolling down a hill.
Remember this, yeah.
And the intuitive action said, when you leave this room, go to that hill outside the window and roll down the hill. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's dirty, there was, mud and whatever, grass, and I'm like, and I'm in nice clothes, and I'm driving to stay at my friend's house, and I'm like, I'm not rolling down a hill.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I imagined that I was a marble rolling down a hill. I get back to my friend's house, and I'm staying with some of my very best friends, and they have this 2-year-old daughter. She's very cute. And she comes into the room that I'm staying in, and out of nowhere, she picks up the exact marbles that I had envisioned that I was, and starts throwing them down a slide, right in front of me. I'd never seen the marbles before, and I didn't even know they had a toy slide in their house. And she just comes up to me and starts like doing this. Essentially exactly what I did. I was marbles rolling down this hill.
Wild,
She
so
picked up
crazy.
on my energy and was doing exactly what I did, which shows me that there's this connection between all humans, and we can read each other no matter the age, no matter if you can read or not, no matter where you are. And my friends who I was staying with didn't even know they had those marbles, and then the girl hid them after. So it's not like they were there readily available and I had never seen them before. And that was just so powerful. Understanding that there's something greater happening when we can tap into it, and the breath allows us to do so.
Love. What about you, Marley?
Love, connection. We are all connected.
Yeah.
Truly believe that. For me, it was the root of my self-worth. The memory came through, and that was just huge. I think that was my biggest breakthrough session. It was like I was 5. I couldn't believe it. It was so real. I went, I was like, called my sister. I'm like, did this happen? She's like, oh my God, how'd you remember that? I'm like, yeah. It was just me overhearing my grandpa say something. That was it. And that was, I think, the biggest memory that came through. And then the other sessions where I'm in nothingness, where I'm like purely just whole and complete. And I really feel like I'm in that trance state. And I just feel so like nothing needs to change. This moment is so perfect. And I think those are like my 2 most,
Love.
Beautiful.
greatest sessions.
Love that. I'm like trying to think. I think I have so many, but I would say, much like Merle, like connecting back to that self-worth and self-confidence after coming out of a toxic work situation. And then the other one that I am not even going to call it a breakthrough yet, because I feel like I'm still in the midst of it, is some family stuff and some childhood stuff. And I had a great life. My parents were incredible. We never wanted for anything. Like we were always provided for. My childhood was amazing. But I think what I didn't realize is some other things that, like through school, through Mean Girls, through like other things that were happening. I'm the middle child, no sister, only brothers, like things that have affected me and are like still in the back of, that subconscious that I just never realized before. So like I kind of feel that there's something still there. The relationship with my father, unfortunately, I've lost my mother. She passed away 10 years ago. And I feel like that also changed everything in our dynamics with our family and stuff. So I think there's a lot more to come, but that's kind of where I can feel that breakthrough, that breakthrough coming in, that inner child stuff.
I remember the first day, I think it was the first or second day of the certification, the grief. It was the grief from the loss of your mom. A lot of it came up, even though you had healed a lot. It was still really coming up for you, and it was really powerful release that day. So I know that we've done a lot of hypnobreathwork to help us heal and become more self-aware and just continue to up-level our identity. But haven't you guys been really surprised at how much clarity it gives us in our business? Like every program, every workshop, every piece of content, every single thing I launch comes from breathwork. There is nothing I will put out in the world, not my book, not a chapter, not this podcast, anything that doesn't come from breath. How has it been for you guys dropping into flow state and creating with this super tool?
Ooh. Flow state. Okay. Time doesn't exist. That's I feel like I'm in the pocket. So with the content stuff, still working on that. But with everything else, like the conversations, the sessions, the certain things didn't come to me yet. So I'm hoping that comes like tomorrow, like the website, the name, things like that are just like, but I'm also not breathing deep. I know that I'm being blocked by like my analytical. And, but everything I just get so much clarity, and I'll write it down and I'll take the intuitive action, or I'll reach out, I'll send a pitch. I think the mental clarity, the ability to bypass that hesitation and the second guessing and the self-doubt. My self-doubt, I kid you not, is loud. And that is like the default in the morning when I'm taking intuitive action, and really through, I think, repetition, it has really helped me be like, you know what, you're right there. Self-doubt's never going away, but I can move now. And it doesn't, like, it's just, Yeah, I think that has been the biggest thing for me.
It's all in the consistency, too.
In the consistency.
Yeah. Flow state for you, Andy?
Yeah, I'll say flow state in business. What I'll say about this is that when I try to force something, it always goes sour. It always goes south.
For sure.
And, you know, I have, and I still do sometimes. But when I'm in flow state and I use hypnobreathwork and I use meditation, I use all these amazing tools that I have to get into flow state, things just come to me.
Yeah, I know.
The ideas, the names, whatever it is, they just show up. And I love that breath it finds that path of least resistance to get there.
Yeah.
To me, that's what that flow state is. It's the idea of you can get there with the least resistance, because sometimes things are going to be hard.
Yeah.
They are going to be challenging. They're going to be daunting. You know, yes, there's going to be hesitation, but to do it with the least resistance, that's where I can get into flow state and know that I can really create from that space.
I'll never forget at the Bali retreat, we spend one day on business and we do a whole flow state workshop in nature. And Andy just gets up. You bounced up. Like you jumped.
Oh yeah, I know. I jumped. I got energy.
You leaped up, put a white poster board on the window, grabbed a marker, and started building out the entire ecosystem of his business, and then presented it to all of us with like these different pillars and how it connects. And
I love it.
And he was so in alignment. His energy was so contagious. It was so special. And now it's all coming to life, which is like the craziest part.
Yeah, all those bits and pieces of it are infused within what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
What about you, Roxanne? How's flow
So
state
good.
been for you?
It's been good. It was interesting when I first left and went home from the certification. Every breath work that I would do, like I'd immediately start thinking of things. Oh, what can I use this for? How can I use this? Maybe I should do this session on someone else. And I was like almost not dropping in myself because my business mind was like just running a mile a minute. So for me, it's interesting because when I go into a session being like, I want to come up with the content or I want to come up with this or that, I can't get anything. But when I am not focused on it, it's just flow. Like I'll do a session on belief or self-confidence or something else, and it's like all this business stuff comes up. But if I sit down to do a business thing, a content, doesn't happen for me.
You have to unblock the creativity first. You have to unblock the ego. You have to get back into service. That's why it's a 22-minute process for us, because there's that little piece, the doubt, the fear, the way you're going to be perceived. You have to let that go, release it. The breath bypasses that, and then all the clarity comes through, right? So I'm having a little bit of a download right now to just ask you guys if there's anything you want to ask each other, there's anything you want to ask me, or if there's any quotes you want to share.
No pressure.
Well, I will say, right before we started this session, this quote came to me that I read just a few days ago. And it's that the world is built by love. And it sounds cheesy, but it's so deep. And through connecting with that phrase, there's so much depth. And breath work, or hypnobreathwork, it all taps into that energy that I feel. And to me, that's a quote that we can all live by and use within our businesses, within our families, within our transitions. And it's very powerful. So that's a quote that clearly I had an intuitive hit to share, and you asked me about it.
Good. Any final thoughts?
I have a quote that's coming to me, and I'm like, why is this coming to me? I'm battling my intuition right now.
Trust the intuition.
And it happened to come up today with an Uber driver that was driving me to the hotel, and I was actually helping him through something for the 20 minutes in the car, because that's what I do. And it's all based on love. And I was telling him, like, you know, you're born looking like your parents, and you die looking like your choices.
Ooh.
And it was really just around, we were talking about our lineage and everything, and it was just around really, we're born with a set of circumstances, or we're born with, you know, our parents telling us something, or us overhearing something that our grandpa said, and certain siblings. And I feel that there's no coincidence, nothing is random, but then we have a choice. We get to choose what we're going to take responsibility for, how we show up, how stressed we are, whether we do hypnobreathwork or not. We get how we respond to people, how we communicate with people, how we love people. There comes a certain point where we have to stop blaming our parents and where we come from and love and accept them. And through my practice, I have healed like all those wounds one by one, where I could look at my mom with full acceptance. My father passed, and you know, I could just look at everything with just full acceptance and love.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that quote that
Me
you said.
too. That was
really that quote.
that hit
I have
hard.
to. It like it, I was full body shakes with that one, like what you say.
Yeah. So, Merle, if anyone is ready to do this kind of work, where can they find you?
Right now they can find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm working one-on-one with clients, personalized packages, just to you know, help them clear those invisible blocks and tap into that intuition. And I also do guest spots for events and retreats and masterminds.
Amazing.
So yes.
We will
So
link
good.
all of that in the show notes. And then, Roxanne, if anybody wants to work with you or join Reignite Her, where can they find you?
I'm Instagram too at Roxy Lee Serra.
Perfect. And then, Andy, if we want to join Hypno Ocean events, where do we go?
Yes. So the website is hypnotion.co, and that's hypno like HYPN and then ocean. So Hypnotion, combining hypnosis and ocean.co. And then you can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Stein, which is my last name, _Andy as well.
Beautiful, you guys. Thank you so much for being embodied coaches who continue to do the work on yourself and are just of pure intention and service and making your big impact in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
It was
us.
wonderful
having
chatting
us.
with all of you.
Oh, it was so nice.
And if anybody at home wants to try a hypno breathwork session, Merle actually had us do a 1-minute confidence boost before we started this, and we will link that here as well. Thank you, guys. Shout out to Huel for sponsoring and partnering with the Mastry Experience.